I was selected to represent my brigade, the 3rd Brigade of the 102nd Division, an Army Reserve training division, where I actually now train people to do civil affairs work, that kind of economic development type work around the world. And as a competitor, I was flown to Fort Knox and met with other competitors whom I would be with for a week of pretty intense competition. We flew into Louisville Airport. They had a bus for us and arranged to give us a ride to Fort Knox. Well, on that bus, we were on a part of the highway that passes onto the baseland between some different areas on Fort Knox. And the bus came to a stop, and I heard one of my co-competitors on the bus say, "We gotta go." And I looked up, I saw the vehicle, it had flipped on its side, there was debris across the road. I always carry a small first aid kit, ran out there with some of the other competitors to the car, and just kind of going through the motions of what I trained to do as a medic coming up on a dangerous type situation. And the first thing I noticed as I was looking at the vehicle was coming out from under the vehicle on its side, so this would be out of the driver's side door, I saw a bloody hand coming out. I was with one other soldier who was able to access the vehicle through what would have been the rear window, and I was able to access through shattered glass of the windshield. And as soon as I was able to kind of enter, because it was collapsed and kind of had to crawl through, I saw the victim. Very first thing we were looking at was, all right, is there any major bleeding? And there was a major cut to the head. Meanwhile, the other soldier, co-competitor who was able to access through the rear windshield or the rear window, was able to stabilize the head. Another major consideration we have in terms of head and neck stabilization, aside from breathing, and the patient was having trouble breathing, but also just stabilizing the spinal column, the spinal cord. I think we just both applied some military training and were able to do the right thing. After this event, I kept on kind of going through my head, all right, did I take the right steps? Was there anything more I could have done? You know, in medical school, there's a lot of memorization, a lot of very textbook, ivory tower type work, a lot of testing, and I think one just wonders, you know, in a real situation, would I do the right thing? And I think I did here, so I'm just really proud. The only moment where I had some hesitation was when it was probably too late to do anything about it. I had my boots outside of the vehicle because of the way I was positioned in the vehicle, and I felt from the engine compartment a liquid leaking onto the boot. At that point I said, I really hope that's not fuel. I really hope that's not something combustible. With a suspected head and spinal injury, normally one would not want to move the patient if one could avoid it. So even if it had been something flammable, it would have been tough to be able to stabilize the spine and move the patient. Once the fire department got there, they used, I believe what are called the jaws of life, to basically break open the wreckage of the vehicle and remove the patient.